Hello everyone, welcome to Art Success with me, Adelaide Damoah. This is Rachel Ara. Did I say it correct? Ara. Why do I keep saying the
I don't know, but you probably will forever.
Ara. This is Rachel Ara. She's one of my fellow colleagues in Second Floor Studios in Unit 5. So, Rachel, tell me a bit about your background.
Well, I'm a practicing artist. I've been practicing for nearly 3 years now,
Yeah.
3 years in October. I went to, I think, Goldsmiths about 20 years ago and did a BA in Fine Art. And then when I finished, I thought I had to get a job. So I went and got a job. 20 years later, I've returned back to my art practice. Sort of work I do, I work in any mediums. I actually incorporate a lot of programming into my work, digital. I'm also a trained cabinet maker, so I can construct things. I mean, it could be anything. And I guess it's around the themes of, a lot of it's about gender-based violence or feminism, I'd say my work is about.
Okay, so you mentioned looking at feminism and gender-based violence and incorporating that into your work. Can you give me any examples of how you've done that?
Yeah. I mean, I'll first say that, I mean, I don't sort of think of things to not write about, to art about. I never know what the word is.
Yeah.
It's just things that particularly move me and things that are important in my life. And being a woman, I mean, obviously feminism and equality has to be important. Well, I mean, pretty much most projects I did. The first project I did when I restarted was a response to, I think, the Saatchi incident. And I did a sort of series of 5 paintings and wallpaper using sort of domestic materials to sort of depict the in a fairly abstract way, to depict the scene of or the incident.
Yeah.
And 2, which I was quite surprised on, were displayed at the Royal West Academy. So
They were displayed where?
at the Royal West Academy. I don't think they had any idea what they were about. Bristol.
Oh, in Bristol.
Yeah. So that was quite nice, and I think that sort of gave me some confidence from then on that, you know, I could sort of do work that I wanted to do, and then there'd be places to show them. So I think I've been quite lucky straight away.
So just to clarify, you're talking, when you talk about the Saatchi incident, you're talking about the one where he put his hands around Nigella's neck?
Yes, that's it. Tried to
The alleged...
pull on Nigella, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. That must have been controversial, or not?
Well, I think all my work, actually, you know, quite a few have been about domestic violence that sort of happened in the art world.
Yeah.
So I think I poke a lot at the art world.
Yeah.
And but a lot of places, either they embrace it or they don't seem to understand it, but they show the work because it stands on its own
Merit.
without necessarily knowing the background.
Yeah. So was it could you see him in the work?
It looked like a very odd cameo of a person.
Okay.
So it just looked like a very odd, unusual piece.
Okay. I need to see it.
You need to see it,
Yeah,
yes.
that sounds interesting. And so you're full-time, right?
Yeah, I'm full-time.
Yeah, and how have you managed to become a full-time artist?
Well, I did basically sold the house. I just thought if I carried on working, I mean, I probably worked in computers for just over 30 years. So I sold the house and really have enough money to work full-time probably for about 5-6 years. So I'm really going for it. I'm going to build a big portfolio and hopefully that'll be enough. I can make a living. I don't expect a massive living, but just survive doing that, yes. Because that's one thing I thought I'd regret.
Not doing it.
Not doing that, because I've always wanted to do it, but never had the funds to do it really full time.
What was it that helped you make that switch to actually just do it?
Probably my peculiar behaviour at work.
Peculiar how?
I think it was a crescendo. I remember I was working for sort of a big media company, sort of consulting on their systems, and they had some external consultants come in and, oh my God, just they're lying. And I kept saying, you realise they're totally pulling the wool out of you. I mean, they were just lying about these systems they were putting in. And they turned around and said to me, yeah, we know that, but that's business.
What?
I know. And at that point, I just thought, no. Because when I do things, I like to do things well. And when you design a good system that's efficient and people benefit from it, then at least you've done something useful. But when it's just messing around with I don't know, I just had enough, I think, at that point.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like you were the one being peculiar.
I think it's peculiar possibly to be so honest in that environment. And I'm not a good game player, so I can't play the games.
Yeah. What, you just left? You just decided to leave?
I just said no, well, because I was freelancing, so I just terminated my contract in a very nice way with everyone, and just said I'm off. I'm off. Where did off come from? But I'm off. Yes, I'm off. And then and then I just went on a year's cabinet making training.
Well, we've talked about the fact that you've been consistently making work now for the last 3 years.
Nearly 3 years.
Nearly 3 years. And you've managed to win some awards.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes.
The Estetica one?
Oh yes. I do remember. I'm not that old. Yeah, no, about a month ago I won the Estetica prize, which is brilliant because it's a really big international competition. I think about 3,500 people entered, and I just did it when I was running out the door. You know, I had a spreadsheet of things I should enter, and I submitted a couple of pieces that I thought would fit in with what they were looking for, and interesting enough, they were interested, but not in that piece, in something else on the website.
Yeah.
So it's a really good idea to have your website up to date.
Yes.
Because if someone's interested, then they're going to look at other things, and they shortlisted me, which is brilliant because they long list 90 and they shortlist 10.
Wow.
And then we had an exhibition in York, and I won it last week or 2 weeks ago.
Is it just that recent?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I've got the golden envelope somewhere.
That's excellent.
I was like that for the cheque. No, it has been paid into my bank account. It's £5,000, which you can't sneeze at.
No, that's really good. How did you hear about the competition?
Oh, I think internationally it's a lot more well known than locally, but I just see ArtQuest. I use ArtQuest.
Yes.
It was very good.
Yeah.
And I always look at the juries. They had a very, very good jury, very good provenance, and I really like the stuff they'd shown before because they're quite political and they're not samey like some of the other places. And it's been a wonderful experience. They've been really, really good people to work with.
Yeah.
Everyone's been so nice.
Yeah. And the piece you entered was?
This Much I'm Worth, which
Yes.
is a self-evaluating art piece.
Yes. Explain more about that piece, please.
Okay, it's about 60 centimetres by 60 centimetres, and it's a piece of neon with 7 numbers in Nixie lights, which are cold cathode lights. And the reason for the neon is because it harks back to sex trade and value that's put on women. And the numbers will actually display the value of the art piece. It actually works out its own sale value. So sitting underneath it is a lot of electronics, which will connect to the internet to pick up its value. And I run quite complex algorithms at night, which will work out how much this piece is worth based on my provenance, gender, blah, blah, blah. And then it will post that value to the Internet of Things, and then the artwork will pick it up and display it every morning. Excellent.
So it sounds massively complicated, but you designed those algorithms yourself?
Yes. I mean, this is ongoing work. You'll never get the algorithms right as the art world changes and as things change. I mean, at the moment, I think, I'll have to check it, but I think you're lopping about 80% off the price because I'm a woman.
Yeah, wow.
And maybe if women ever get equality, in a few hundred years, that those will change.
What's the highest that price has ever gone?
It's top nearly £6,000 at the moment.
Yeah.
So it sort of went up significantly after winning the prize.
After winning the prize, that's good to know. So people enter competitions. That's really good to know. Anyway, it's a really real world and very practical way of visualising what happens to a piece of artwork's price or value over time. And you're keeping that data?
Yes, that data is logged every night, so I should do some visualisations on that and some graphs. So, I mean, there is for me privately, but I should make that public.
Yeah, you should. That would be really interesting, because if you could have it on your website or something, like just constantly ticking.
Actually, I think it is on my website. No, the historical graph isn't.
No.
But it tweets. I mean, you can see the Twitter feed.
Does it?
Yeah.
It tweets by itself?
Yes.
What's the Twitter handle of that?
This Much I'm Worth.
It's called This Much I'm Worth.
Yeah.
Does it have a lot of followers?
5.
6 now.
That's my mother and me. It's really, I mean, so there you can see the history of the prices as well.
That's really, really, really interesting.
I mean, I use that, it's interesting because Twitter doesn't have to be used as a communication, but it's for me, I see it and then I can see the prices been updated.
Wow. You're currently in the studio and you're not represented at the moment, are you? Or
no.
By a gallery?
No.
That's something that you intend to go for?
Well, I don't know what benefits it gives you. I mean, to be honest, my ideal world is coming into the studio every day and actually working on the pieces that I want to work on.
Yeah.
And producing good work that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And hopefully other people do.
Yes. And how are you going to then, going forward, make that sustainable? for the future?
I have no idea. And I think if you think about it, you'll never do it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned sort of museums, funding.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll be looking at funding, like with the This Much I'm Worth. I'd like to make a full-scale neon version, which I've currently drawn up in computer-aided design, so I'm needing to get the funding for that. And I think getting the prize will help me get some funding towards that, but I'm also going to approach a museum, because I think it's a very good piece, to see whether they want to fund that as well.
I think it's amazing.
So it'll be through funding, yes.
I think it's amazing. I'd be surprised if you didn't get funding for that, actually. If I was one of the funding buddies, I'd be all over it.
How much money have you got?
You
can sell this.
About 5 pence, will that help? So far, what's been your biggest challenge today and how have you overcome it?
My biggest challenge today, I would say, would be getting in the studio. I mean, all I want to do is make art. And I mean, there's so many things to stop you making art, like just day-to-day administration.
Yep.
Family, shouldn't say that, you know, other commitments. So I think that's the biggest obstacle, is just getting in the studio. And I got chucked out of my last studio, so I'm now in this one. I'm still just setting it up. As you can see, I've got quite a bit of machinery and stuff, so it takes about a week to configure, and it's knackering. Yeah. So hopefully by the end of this week, I should be working full-time on my art.
Yeah. You mentioned being chucked out of your last studio. What happened?
I still thought, I was in Plymouth for a residency. Yeah. And there was this studio. I mean, basically, developers and studios working together is a very interesting thing, because I think the developers use the organisations to actually make the property more valuable. Anyway, this studio had about 4 million funding in European funding and managed to create 30 unaffordable studios. So I couldn't help mentioning that from time to time, which upset the directors. Plus I did a bit of graffiti. So we got lawyers' letters, which I'm sure the lawyers were paid for by Arts Council funding. Wow. And me and some others were asked to leave.
Wow. What did the graffiti say?
Fleecing the residents.
Well, it was the truth.
It was the truth. That was my first bit of graffiti.
That's really...
My last.
That's really cool. Don't make it your last.
Yeah, but the problem was, I chose to do it a few hours before Antiques Roadshow was filming that. So yeah, they had to bring the hoarding down very quickly. It was actually a massive hoarding. It was on a temporary hoarding, so I'm not being irresponsible, but it was just brilliant timing for Fiona Bruce.
Bit of a rebel then.
Well, no, I'd say I'm political.
Political. Rebellious. How would you define success in the art world?
Like you said, interesting, you said success in the art world. How would I define success? Well, I think there's a few definitions of success. There's what people perceive as success and what I perceive as my success. Mm-hmm. My success is making artwork that I think is good and that I like, or even just coming in the studio. I think that's an achievement and successful. The art world would deem success as if you're represented, or you get to show your work in a place with good providence, which I don't necessarily think is success, as a lot of bad work gets shown because of contacts. Yeah. So... yeah, it's different. Yeah, and I think a lot of these organisations are run by sort of mini mafias. So it's really
mini mafias.
It's like who you know in the world. But it's interesting, because when I was down in Plymouth, this work, which just was won in Estetica, didn't get in a local show because it was run by some sort of very closed group. Oh, really? And basically, it was all their friends that surprisingly won this competition. Wow. They got shortlisted and were entered. Wow. You know, so basically, and again, it's pick your fights. And that wasn't, what can I say? Yeah. Well, I'm always getting myself in trouble for pointing these things out. But don't be afraid, because I think if more artists are honest about the sort of nepotism that goes on, then we'll break this. Yeah, I think so. Because it does not suit women. I think so. Basically, this is why most people who show are white and male, because the people who are choosing are white and male, and that will carry on. Well, of course. Unless more people speak out. And when people speak out, then it's, you're not showing here. Yeah. Well, great, we'll set up our own space. Yeah, I agree. That's it. At the end of the day, human nature is that you're always going to identify with people who look like you. Well, no, I disagree. Let's go back to gender. It's not about racial divide, it's about gender. Women can get on perfectly happy. This is what I say with gender-based violence, regardless of race or class, men are still beating women to death everywhere. Every day. Every day. I skipped a question. What has been your biggest success to date as an artist, and how did you achieve it? Well, my biggest success, I feel, as an artist is actually getting the studio and making artwork, and I achieved that by selling the house.
Yeah.
Because for me, I couldn't work and be an artist, because as I said before, you know, I just need to be 100% on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So if I'm work, I want to design computer systems, and I haven't got the space to come back home and do art.
Yeah.
So that, but I suppose, as deemed by the art world, my greatest, I suppose, would be the winning the Estetica, which I suppose will advantage me to the extent that people take me seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas I said, people don't usually take me very seriously.
I do.
Yeah. But you're probably on the same spectrum as me.
Probably. Yeah.
So I think you actually notice as a woman it is hard to get taken seriously.
No, it's true, 100%.
And then sort of being older, then you've got that as well. And, you know, then looking like I look, you know, because when I go out, I don't really change.
So you've given me your definition of success in the art world, of which there seemed to be like a disconnect between what you think you perceive to be art world speak for definition of success, and then your definition of success, which is in the doing and just being an artist and making the work.
Well, exactly, because you know, I'm not going by these standards, these sort of patriarchal standards, am I?
Yeah.
I mean, you see success in the business world, someone who's maybe a CEO,
Yeah.
you know, they've not got there through skill, it's through nepotism and networking. And unfortunately that happens in the art world, and God knows why, because it should be about the work.
Yeah.
But there you go.
So by your definition, would you consider yourself to be successful in the art world?
No, well, no, quite no, minor. I suppose after winning Estetica has made a slight difference, but it doesn't bother me. It's not something I'm after.
But then, by your definition, your success is in the doing, and you
it's
are.
in the doing. It's creating work that
Exactly.
I think is of a very high standard. And that I like, and
Yep.
I hope other people will like, and hopefully the work will speak for itself. And I know that can be a bit naive, because you know, you need a bit of networking and nepotism on top of that, but I mean, I can't do that.
Yeah.
All I can do is create the work.
Which you are. Yes. So what would be your most ambitious dream for your work?
Most ambitious dream? That sounds like a kids' TV. Do you know what I mean? Like Anton Deck.
It kind of does, actually. Oops.
Well, not the biggest dream, to continue to be able to make work, because I just hate all the kerfuffle that comes with it. I just want to be left alone and be able to make the work.
Yeah.
And I've got some very ambitious projects, very complicated, large pieces that I'm drawing up, as I said, in CAD at the moment, and visualising, rendering them, so at least funders can get some idea of what they're going to look like. So yes, to get some of those pieces made, yes, would be great.
What advice would you give to other artists who
Well,
go down this path?
Get a trade, because I mean that will feed into your artwork ultimately, and I think the discipline of actually being able to work, because there's a lot of project management involved with work, and there's lots of discipline to actually make a piece, because you're having to coordinate people to help you, to write letters to funders, blah blah blah. It's hard work, and just only to do it if you want to do it, and be true to yourself. Work on things that you believe on, and don't copy or appropriate other people's work. Otherwise, you may as well be a designer and get paid well.
Yeah.
Do your own thing.
Good advice. We've got open studios coming up.
Yes.
And where's your studio?
Yeah.
Second floor studios.
It's 105.
105, Unit 5.
Unit 5,
Unit
105,
5.
downstairs.
Downstairs, okay. So come along and see Rachel's work in Unit 5, and that piece that you won the competition for.
It will be here, yes, it will. Yes, I'm installing it the day before, so it'll be coming to London for that.
And what's it called again?
This Much I'm Worth.
This Much I'm Worth. You need to see. Make sure you do come down second floor studios, and it's between the 2nd and the 5th of June, right? 2nd to the 5th of June 2016. If you're watching this after then, well. Thanks for watching. This is Adelaide Damoah, Art Success, and this is Rachel Ara. Thanks again. Don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe, and do let me know who you'd like to see me interview next.